Good afternoon, good morning. Welcome on back to the channel. Perhaps it's even late in the evening. Thank you so much as always for being here, clicking on the videos, especially for a Long Song Saturday, which it is today. So, for Long Song Saturday, we are going to listen to Downwind by Pierre Moerlen's Gong. Not your gong, not my gong, and not the gong that we're familiar with. We're going to listen to Pierre Moerlen's Gong. This is off the album Downwind, which was released in 1979, so we'll be listening to the title track here. A lot of you had been suggesting to me to listen to this album, but of course also the title track, especially because it features the one and only Mike Oldfield in here. So among those who had recommended this particular track, and perhaps the album as well, Andrew James Gordon, James Warner, User, FN7OB, Birchu PG, AK, Christopher Quinn, Black Sapphire, Route Master or Route Master, Lee Thomas, Mongol Bobby, and the list goes on from there, on and on and on and on and on. So all of you, thank you so much for the recommendation. Actually, there's one more person, Micro Cristal. Thank you guys for the suggestion. Of course, we've listened to the Angel's Egg trilogy, or Flying Teapot trilogy, sorry. And now, let's go ahead and listen to a little bit more. Before we get started on this, I just want to say one thing. I was on Rate Your Music and I was just looking through their albums, Gong in general and Gong affiliated music in general. I'm not going to put it up on the screen, but I'm just going to say this. I came across this 2004 album by Gong entitled Acid Motherhood. I think that's one of the scariest album covers I've ever seen in my life. I'm looking at it right now, and I don't want it looking back at me. I'm closing that window. Anyways, Downwind, Gong, I could not find any lyrics, which leads me to assume that it's instrumental. One way to find out, so let's go ahead and dive on in. Here we go. Among this percussive environment here, and the bass. Those stops come in. Is that Oldfield on the guitar? Sounds like him. That almost sounds like a Tubular Bells kind of melody, right? That's a fantastic vibraphone melody, especially when the bass is under it, driving that rhythm. That's Oldfield. You know his distinct guitar tone. to like Omadon, right? Going off. You don't even need like overpowering drums at this moment. I feel like it's coming, but you don't need it. Empty. Okay, Phil. There's a lot of build-up in this. It's really nice flute. Oh, it's keys. Those are some really nice fills, though. Oh, that was a fast one. Back again. Isn't there like a constant elevation and deflating or flattening more? So when it comes to like the build up of it all. But it's very engaging. Works like Morse code. They worked it out. Oh, they worked out everything in that track. All right. There is a lot to dive into, I feel, with this track. That was so good. That was so fun to listen to. And you wouldn't even have had to told me like Mike Oldfield is in this, because if I was to hear this blindly and know that, and not know, I guess, that Mike Oldfield was in here, if I hear that guitar tone, I'm going to say, is that Oldfield? And then I'm going to like look over here at my computer to see if I can find the personnel. His tone is just so distinct. The way that he plays, Oldfield's on your track. And I think that he was brilliantly used. I think he played wonderfully in here, played to his strengths. Let's put him to the side for just a moment and talk about the main band leader, ringleader, Pierre Moerlen. So we're getting his Gong project, his version of Gong. I don't know a lot about the Gong universe when it comes to like their, I know that they have all these different side bands and groups and projects and stuff. I don't know. That part's beyond me. However, what I can say is that this is a little bit different, of course, from the Gong that I'm used to, while at the same time holding true to a lot of the things that made them who they are. So Gong are like the fanciful, silly lyrics. Gong is all that, but at the same time staying true to the playful, jazzy nature of the music. We are getting that much more directly here with Downwind, and I really like that. The saxophone was very, very nice. We have Mr. Mallaby on there. So, like, great playing. I love the solos. I like how they came up with that. And then I see that on this track, you actually, besides Oldfield playing guitar, it seems he's also playing the bass as well. The bass line, when that comes in, it's just popping. Bow, bow. That pop. Bow, bow. Sounds so good. It adds this really nice funky rhythm to the music. And I think that this track as a whole has so much diversity in its sounds, but at the same time, you can feel the sum of all of its parts. You can feel the gongness in it. You can feel Mike Oldfield and what he brings to it, especially in his parts where not only is his guitar coming out, like all his kind of scratchy tone that he kind of comes up with, but even the section with its repetitive nature, with Moerlen on the marimba vibes, one of the two, and then of course the buildup of percussion around that, it feels very Oldfield-esque. It was reminding me personally of like Omadon and like, you know, the rising up and climax in part one, I would say in Omadon is what I'm kind of feeling, especially from Oldfield's playing there. What else? The structure was really nice in the track. We opened up with some, with like I said, the drums, and when those come in, it almost has this kind of, to me, circus-like feel, like the actual drum set that's being used, because it's more rounded and it's not so direct when it comes to the drum sounds. And then we move into that funky section. And then from there, it moves into the Oldfield section. And I just really like the repetitive nature in that. But then after that, it goes back to that funky section, and that's kind of that celebratory, charismatic kind of ending to end this specific track. And I think that that is such a great structure to the music, to provide something that the audience can hold on to in a sense of that catchy rhythm, but experiment a little bit and push the boundaries of yourself, your band, whatever, in your own way with that Oldfield-esque part. I think that that was really, really intelligent. Pierre Moerlen, obviously stellar percussionist, great drummer. And when it comes to a drummer leading an album or leading a band, when it's their solo when it's their solo expedition and like they're splitting from the band in a sense and doing their own thing, to me it's always interesting to hear, what is the drummer gonna do? You know, they invite all their musician friends, the session musicians, get them all together, but the drummer is the one that's leading everything. Are they going to play in a way that's more performative for the drummer so that they stand out on their own? Or are they going to kind of lay back, play in pocket a little bit more to give room to the song or to the musicians? I gotta say that Moerlen, to me, does the perfect job of doing both. I'm very pleasantly surprised to hear how balanced this was, because it is performative. It is show-offy in some ways. The Phil Collins-esque fills that were coming in, starting in kind of a timed moment, but eventually just kind of overtaking the whole flow of the river, I thought was really nice. The, not experimental percussion, but the percussion in general that's brought in, which I see has a long list of things. I mean, you hear it all in here. I think that the way he builds that up is so well done. And I was thinking about it, listening to him, like, you know, what's Moerlen's advantage over perhaps another drummer in another band that would try and do a solo project? And to me, the advantage is that he's not just a drummer. He's a drummer, he's a percussionist, he plays marimba, vibes. On here, he plays some synthesizer, electric piano, and I guess some lead vocals at some point in the album as well. So he has this advantage in that he's not just the drummer. He can play a hand in all the different decks in this particular album that he's made. And I think that that lends himself to a big advantage, because he can come out from around the drum kit and provide music in different other avenues that perhaps would be filled in by other musicians. He does all he can and allows others, of course, to come in and feature and fill everything up, which I think is very, very nice. Some of that marimba playing reminded me of Tubular Bells a little bit, so I'm feeling another little bit of an Oldfield connection. I'm really impressed with this track, all that it accomplished in, to me, a short amount of time. I think that the 12 minutes here flew by very quick. It was all fun to listen to. It was enjoyable. And like I said, I think that they accomplished a lot in what I consider a short amount of time. Maybe not. I know it's not. 12 minutes is not a short song by no amount of time. But and then at one point I had mentioned, I hear flute. Then I listened and I was like, no, maybe it's not. It was flute because you had Terry Oldfield playing. And then you do have some synth in this track from Steve Winwood as well. You had a lot of talent on this track here. A lot of talent. Well, there's no lyrics to go on here or to read over, so there's nothing else to really say except I hope that you guys enjoyed the music as much as I did. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You can follow me over on Twitter. You can support the channel and what I do on Patreon. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoyed your stay. I hope you did. Come back tomorrow. I hope you do. And I will see you all then. Bye, guys.